And now we've been following a live blog by our CBC journalists who are inside the courtroom for the latest information. And just a warning for our viewers that some of the details are graphic and disturbing. So with that, I do want to bring in criminal defense lawyer Karen McArthur, who's also been following along with the blog. She has no relation to Bruce McArthur. Again, Karen, thank you for joining us here. And I should also mention that one of the pieces of information we're getting here is that one of the victims who came to Canada came as a refugee claimant, in fact, and that is part of the details that we're getting here. So we're learning more about the victims and more about the investigation. One thing that we did learn is how police managed to find the vehicle that was used by McArthur in some of these cases. What stood out to you on that case?
I thought it was a very fine piece of police investigative techniques. There was a surveillance video where Kinsman stepped into the van on June 26, 2017. The police took the surveillance video and they recognized that it was a red Dodge Caravan. The police then went down to the Dodge dealership and said, "Can you help us identify the year?" They determined, the manager of Dodge told them it's a 2004, red 2004 Dodge Caravan. The police then ran through the list of all the 2004 red Dodge Caravans. There were 6,181 of them. They then cross-referenced it with the name Bruce, because of course Andrew Kinsman had written Bruce in his calendar on June 26, 2017. So from there, they narrowed it down, and they ultimately were able to locate the van in a dumping ground for vehicles out in Cordis, Ontario. But I thought that was a fine piece of police work.
And just some good insight, too, into how much intricate work it takes to narrow down these pieces of evidence or clues,
right,
hints that police may have come across. Now, when we're talking about the Dodge Caravan being located at this wrecking yard, what sort of stands out to you about that point, too?
So what I took from today's reading in of the statement of facts as compared to last week's statement of facts and everything that we'd learned before from the search warrant applications that the media accessed, is that it appears to me that Bruce McArthur had a bit of an understanding that the jig might be up, even though he had previously been interviewed on numerous occasions and indeed arrested by the police over the decade. But in the fall of 2017, it appears as though the good old Dodge Red Caravan 2004 was put in a wrecking yard, and it also appears that he was attempting to delete photos of the dead men from his computers. But with police investigative techniques as they are, they were able to recover the photos forensically. So Bruce knew, I think, the jig was up. But another point I find interesting is that even though likely he knew they were on his trail, when the police ultimately arrested him, a man was tied to Bruce's bed.
Some really startling information coming out from this agreed statement of facts today at the sentencing hearing. And again, for our viewers, we continue to track it with our reporters who are in the courtroom right now. And Karen McArthur is also watching that, and she's a criminal defense lawyer in Toronto. She joined us here in studio. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Arte.